One of the best tools I've found for making a good choice about going into the backcountry is the Utah Avalanche Center's Morning Avalanche Advisory. It's a document that gets emailed right to your computer each morning, and I thought it'd be interesting to find out what it takes to put together this forecast. So I got myself connected with Bruce Tremper of the Avalanche Center, and before you know it, we were loading up his car, and we were headed up Big Cottonwood Canyon to do some snowpack analysis.
Make sure it's within.
Even on our way up the ridge, it was clear Bruce wasn't going to miss any opportunity to gather information about the snowpack.
Field work is really, really important to our job, to get out and look at it personally. You know, you can't forecast avalanches from the office.
He even dug an impromptu snow pit while I was resting. But to do the tests he wanted to, we had to go farther up the ridge and dig a full snow pit. And nobody digs like Bruce Tremper.
I'll just slice some bread here, isolate some columns, make little miniature avalanche paths here, and I'll put my shovel on top, and I'll just do it 10 times here from the wrist, and then go from the elbow, and then from the whole shoulder. So this particular column is pretty solid right there. So I expected it to break out a little bit easier than that, but you never know because it will vary a lot from one place to the other. There, it broke out on kind of medium elbow taps. The test that I really like is what I call an extended column test. So I'll cut this one 1 meter wide this way. And then I'll take my snow saw and mount it on the end of my ski pole. So now I'll make a vertical cut. So this thing is, you know, it's 1 meter wide this way and 30 centimeters from one side to the other. So, and I'm going all the way to the ground. I have to make sure I'm kind of parallel to the front face of the. And you see this top wind slab is breaking off like we knew it would. But I'm worried about those other layers down below, so I'm going to see if this thing will propagate a fracture. You need to make an avalanche, you need to initiate a fracture and propagate a fracture. So if I initiate it below the shovel and it propagates all the way across the column, then that tells me something. See, right here I wasn't able to even initiate a fracture. There it goes. So kind of on a hard tap there, I was able to just propagate the whole fracture. Now, the statistics say that as long as you can propagate a fracture, no matter how hard you got to hit on it, you know, you can still probably trigger avalanches on that layer. You should still worry about it.
Bruce even went so far as to check the shape of the snow crystals using a monocular and some cross polarizers. The angular crystals are the ones that are more likely to start an avalanche. The next thing I learned was an important choice that Bruce has made for himself about a piece of equipment that he always takes into the backcountry.
You can live for about an hour under the snow with these things. Without them, you only have about 15 minutes to live under the snow. So I don't ever go anywhere without my Avalon. These things are essential.
And with that, we headed home. But in the car ride on the way down, Bruce gave me one last thing to think about in making my choice about the backcountry.
Yeah, driving this road is way more dangerous than avalanches, I think. I'd much rather take my chances with something where I have some control over.
January 16th, 185 centimeters of total snowpack at about 6,000 feet near Sheep Mountain, near Wagner Creek. We're going to do a compression test. Isolated the column. Okay, that's a CT score of 11, high quality shear on cold snow. 12, same thing, high quality shear, nice flat shear plane. Looks like on some real cold snow and maybe some surface hoar.
Okay, here we are on Mount Ellis on the northern Gallatin Range. We're on a 34-degree slope on the east face in the burn area, and I'm standing in about 3 feet of faceted snow here. And so we dug down, and let's just take a look at what the stability test shows us. Yep, that's a bit of a problem. So what we have here is, even though this is mostly fastest, there was at least enough of a slab there where it propagated this fracture right across. This is breaking, all this faceted snow is breaking underneath a little bit of an ice crust that formed in December 6th. So this is the thin little rain crust, and it's breaking right underneath that. So the big concern here is going to be on steeper slopes or places that have a wind load, or when eventually we start getting more snow. We definitely are seeing We're here on a 32-degree slope on the west side of the Bridger Range, and this is really close. We're basically at the top of Truman Gulch, and this is really close to where there was a skier triggered slide about a week ago. What I've done here is isolated a column 30 centimeters by 90 centimeters, and we're going to do a test called the extended column test. And that's where, after I've isolated the column on all 4 sides, I'll then do a bunch of taps. And what this test will show is if we can propagate a fracture along a weak layer. Taking a bit here. So that was ECT 27, so it took a lot of taps to hit it. However, even though it took a lot of force, it sheared across very easily, so it was able to propagate a fracture. So what that's telling me is that in areas where possibly the snowpack's thinner, we still might be able to trigger a slide. What we have here is we've got a pretty dense slab of snow, anywhere from 4 to 1 finger hardness, and this is sitting on just a bunch of depth hoard, just very sugary, large grain facets that are very weak, and so it was unable to support it. So that's kind of the situation we have right now.
In Teepee Basin, southern Madison range on Valentine's Day, 28 degree slope, surface core buried about 50 centimeters deep. Compression taps are 4, and it broke all the way across, and here's the layer. This formed about 2 weeks ago, and it's the primary weak layer that we're concerned about.
Fucking